was fantastic that Russell came on board, and we started off sort of the first 2-3 weeks with Russell in Washington, D.C., and then Leo came in for the last 4 days.
One of our most explosive scenes was like, I believe, the second or third day of shooting. So when you know you have another actor sitting across from you that can match everything you do and dish out more back, it's an adrenaline rush.
All Hani asked for was patience, Ed.
I don't care
patience.
what Hani asked for.
Not as a personal quality, but as an operational requirement. You can't do it, huh? You are too fucking power hungry and greedy. You fucked this whole operation up, for Christ's sakes. I thought Hani wanted to kill me, Ed. Do you realize that?
Don't exaggerate.
With Russell, every time he's intensely there and extremely realistic in what he does.
You're going to be back in Jordan before you know it. Back with that little piece of Jordanian poontang you got there on the side. You do what?
You're a fat fucking piece of shit. You know that, Ed? We do this shit for a living. Go on a goddamn diet, for Christ's sakes.
Are you quite finished?
Well, Hoffman, of course, I like to feel Hoffman's never been in the field. So it's like, always, how could you know what it's like? I doubt he's ever been in the field.
He's not the man on the ground. He doesn't have the same type of information that I do, or doesn't understand how important the relationships are that I've developed in the Middle East can be towards what we ultimately want to have happen. And the fact that he doesn't respect my character's information a lot of the time and does have simultaneous other missions that sabotage what I'm doing constantly throughout the movie, it creates the whole relationship between our two characters.
You know, 10 years ago, I would have beat the crap out of you.
You should have taken the shot when you had the chance.
Maybe I should have.
We flew off to Morocco, and Russell was here shooting for 4 days. It's one of those funny films because when you look at it, you'll think that Russell and Leo were together the entire time, when in reality, they were actually only together for about 5 days.
Russell, such a giant presence, such a powerful presence, and such an memorable character in this, that he makes a huge mark. And it's also peppered throughout the movie. And a lot of the time, he'll be in Washington while Leo, who's reporting into him, is in the field in Jordan. And so he kind of makes his presence felt in and out through the course of the movie.
I'd let Russell Crowe talk about who he based the character on, but in a way, you know, he very much comes across as a very self-assured, pompous, egomaniacal character that has complete and utter disregard for people that he has relationships with.
I don't care about cultural and security issues, and I don't care if Hani trusts me or not. What he will do is he will thank me in the long run.
Fuck it. Hold on.
Buddy!
Cut it.
Well, Hoffman's got a good brain and is a good strategist. And I think Ferris is not naive enough to believe that sometimes strategists can work from a distance, look back and say, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? And for the most part, Hoffman, with his network of informants, will know more than Ferris. He'll always be slightly ahead of the big game, whereas Ferris is ahead of his own track, where his nose is taking him on the street.
Action! Oh, buddy, you're home. You got a corkscrew?
Jesus Christ, Ed, you scared the shit out of me.
You know, they say you should not drink red wine in the desert.
I don't think he's a fly by the seat of the pants type of character at all. I think he's extremely intelligent and knows exactly what he's doing, sometimes to his own fault.
We are partners now. I am keeping my side of the bargain. Now I need you to give me Karama.
He's chauvinistic in that regard and extremely forthright and doesn't only thinks that his way is ultimately the only way to go with.
Murder.
Russell and Ridley and Leo, they were in the groove. They'd been shooting in Washington, and the way they kind of edited and manipulated the scene to make it mean what it was supposed to mean. You know, they kind of filleted it in a brilliant way. And the next day when we shot it, I was incredibly impressed with Russell, because really in the scene, and it's one where they come and visit me at my office, Leo's character doesn't say anything. He's feeling slightly guilty that he's given Hoffman some information that Hani asked him not to give. Hani is being very, he's playing his cards close to his chest, and Russell as Hoffman just picked up the scene by the scruff of its neck and dragged it through, and I was really impressed with him. And it was great to be in the room with him, knowing that was the only scene that we were going to do, it being the first scene of the shoot. and having that juxtaposition of him kind of scruffy and a little bit wild, and Hani very controlled.
It's fantastic. He was the engine of the scene. Now Sabina go.
I was incredibly impressed with Russell's attention to detail and the way he took the scene that we were in and just drove it through. And Leo's the same. I mean, but Leo's incredibly watchable. There's a kind of, I don't know, quality or vulnerability about him or something that just makes him very watchable.
وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ.
The Dar al-Harb. Very good.
We are together, Hani Pasha, in this house of war. Yes.
No, he's fervently professional and will get the Arabic right. He said, "You really want me to say this?" I say, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." So he'll say, "Because I want to really learn it." I say, "I know." He said, "Are you sure you don't want it half the length?" I said, "No." And he'll learn it, absolutely.
The Arabic was very, very difficult. I had a man by the name of Sam Sacco who basically was there every day to help me with the Arabic and help me with the specific dialects, because there were different dialects that I needed to have with different people in different environments. But I tried my best while I was there, that's all I could say.
Leo's one of the hardest working actors I've ever seen. He comes in incredibly prepared, absolutely focused, knows everything that there is about the day, knows everything that there is about the dialogue, the story, has spent a lot of time going back through the book. He's very focused on the movie, very focused on the role, really wants to portray everything in the correct way and bring the proper power and strength to it as well. So now that we're at the end of the film, it's really fascinating to see how the evolution from the very beginning to the very end. Leo has had the character in his mind the entire way. We're not privy to see that until he steps in front of the camera and shows us what he's been working on. So it's been a really wonderful process to watch him do his thing.